Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. Will Joe Biden pardon his son Hunter if he's convicted of the federal charges he currently faces? Well, here's Karine Jean-Pierre's statement on where Biden stands on this issue.
Second one, will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
So currently the Biden administration is saying that they won't pardon Hunter if he's convicted, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think Biden will pardon Hunter, but I think the situation's pretty complicated. On one hand, I think Biden has genuine affection for his son, and he cares about him, and he doesn't want him to go to prison. But on the other hand, there's no more clear example of special treatment, and it'll just add more credence to the fact that the elites don't go to prison. The worst they get when they're convicted of even heinous crimes is a slap on the wrist. And most of the time, the media and the three-letter agencies will just totally ignore the stories, totally ignore any charges or allegations. But I don't think they can in this situation. And so if Joe pardons him, it'll reinforce the idea that there's a class system in America. And if you're part of that upper class, that upper echelon, there's nothing you can do that you can't get away with. And I think that'll even make Democrats upset. Your average Democrat saying the system is corrupt and then realizing that Joe Biden's actually at the center of it. Because remember, Joe's facing his own charges. They're trying to impeach him for crimes connected to Hunter and their business dealings, more the financial end of Hunter's crime spree, where currently the charges Hunter's facing are federal gun charges, disconnected from Biden to some extent, but still all wrapped up in that family and how they've operated for the last several decades. And you also have to ask the question, what do Joe's handlers want to do? Are they going to allow Joe to pardon his son, knowing how bad optics that would be? Or would they tell him that he's got to let his son go to prison and make this statement that he's disconnected from his son, he loves him very much and he cares about him, but as a strong moral president, he can't give his son special treatment, and therefore they can say Biden was never involved with his son's business dealings. He never gave his son special treatment or is involved in any of his illegal activities. And they'll try to say that. I think they'll want to, but I don't know if Joe will let them. I think Joe does actually care about his son, and he cares about him enough that he might disobey orders and pardon him nonetheless. Because Hunter's currently facing 25 years in prison for these charges alone. And that's not even to mention anything else they dig up about his involvement with Burisma, any of his dealings with China, or anything else that they may find through this investigation. So they really are in quite the tough spot. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Joe. And I think either way, it won't make him very popular. And I don't think there's any way they can hide this story. The Republicans are really trying hard to get this out in the open and to make this a reality. And I think there's enough independent news stations, more like independent news podcasts, that will bring this story to a large audience. I don't think the media can cover stuff like this up anymore. I don't think they can do another plea deal. They tried and they failed. One that would totally exonerate Hunter of all his charges or some future charges. And I don't think they'll be able to pull something like that again because people will be paying much closer attention. So I think Hunter may inevitably be convicted. And I think Biden will change his tune. I think he'll pardon his son. And I think they'll try to ignore it as much as they can, or maybe try to spin it that it was just some witch hunt the Republicans did out of spite. But I think this will change some voters' minds. I think people will realize Biden may not be the innocent, moral, good old Joe that they thought he was. There may be a darker side to the Biden administration. And now that you've heard what I think, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.